And good afternoon, Gianni. And good afternoon to all of those who are watching us digitally. It's a remarkable day for sport integrity. It's a remarkable day for sport as a whole. And it's a remarkable day for all those who are pushing strongly, emphatically, actively for greater sport integrity. What a global movement. What a journey. What a sight it is to have so many sports organizations, so many leaders in sport, in government, such a strong expression of the civil society, and obviously the full participation of international media in this discussion. And it's a pleasure and always an honor to have my dear friend Gianni Merlo, the legendary leader of the AIPS, the Association of International Sports Press, to join me in this conversation about the crucial moment that sport is facing, a moment that is also concerning the media landscape, and in particular the sports media, whose role we obviously acknowledge and recognize, a role of great significance, not only in informing and keeping all the billions of fans up to date, but of course in shaping the future, in ushering sport into a new era where integrity is at the top. Gianni, thank you very much for joining us in this fireside chat. And I hope that the situation in Italy is under control so that we can live this new normal in the best possible way.
First of all, thank you to you and good afternoon. But beginning from Italy, I think that we are not in a bad shape. We have still problems as other countries, but the situation, it looks more under control for now. We cannot say for the future days, but for now is okay. We are going back to our normal life 90-95%. So I think that is quite good. And also sport has begun again. Now we have to see with the spectators what will happen in the stadium. And after, our job as journalists has begin again to be not normal because unfortunately we cannot do exactly as before, but we see perhaps the end of the tunnel. But this we will know only in 1 or 2 months. It's too early now to say that we are out. You know, I think that we have to wait what the government will decide, and that the sport has, in this case, to follow what the government and the politics is saying.
I think you and I and all of us have lived the unprecedented, unimaginable scenario of having for the first time everything empty. Empty streets, empty offices, empty stadiums, empty media, because I think the media was one of the critical sectors that has not stopped. And I think it is proper to take this opportunity to pay tribute to all the journalists, all the media staff that maintained us connected to the world, updated, and acted as a firehouse of or a lighthouse of hope, a beacon of hope that we could cross this tunnel, get to the other side, restore our lives in the best possible way. So I would like to take this occasion, Gianni, and express to you and through you to all the media, to all the journalists, a heartfelt word of appreciation for the resilient, heroic, stoic, brave role that you played throughout this first wave of the global pandemic.
But I must say that the media has done their work. You know, I think that especially in this difficult situation, we have seen that even the work of a sport journalist can be a little bit different. For example, in the moment in which there was no sport at all, what happened in the newspaper? In the newspaper was easier to begin to think. So our colleague has had the possibility to study more the subject about what they were writing. And I can say to you that in the newspaper, even on the web, I have seen articles that were quite better than before, because people has had the time to think about, to choose the right side in which to write about a champion or about a situation, to make also some investigation, to make some research. And in some way, on the newspaper, there was a better product than before, because before you were following all the event in every moment and you were running. You have not time to think, to stop one moment and to consider. In this period, the journalists, especially the sport journalists, were compelled to find new solutions. And I think that in the profession, there was also something a little bit better. There was also very bad situation for the freelancer, because unfortunately, with not event, for them was a disaster. It was good that in some country, the government, we have made an inquiry, the government has given to them a financial support that was not so high. In some country was quite good. In some other was only a part of what they were earning before. But at least there was a recognition by the government of the journalist, even of the freelancer. But we have to continue. Now, I think that after this event, this pandemic, we have to begin to think in a different way also in the way that we have to express ourselves, in the way of journalism that must be more detailed with much more studies. We must go deeper in everything, because we have to show to the public that they can trust what we write. And our fight against the fake news is exactly the fight against match fixing and the doping in the sport. No, the
Yes.
fake news is our doping.
Yeah.
We have to study
Yes.
the way in which to stop it, because this is destroying our credibility. It's
Yes.
not only a joke. It's
Yes.
our credibility that is on the dish. So we have to work very hard on this.
And I think that the what you mentioned is a real threat. The threat of fake news, the threat of living in a fake world where trust is eroded and confidence is diluted. This makes the role of organizations like yours even more relevant. Also, in a period where you see a new wave of professionals coming to the market, who probably do not have the experience as others that are already on the field, but they also imply a lighter financial burden, which brings into question the role of the, let's say, more experienced, older journalisms, who sometimes are also victims of the restructuring of their own companies. I say this because many of them have expressed to me their anguish with this change of times, which is not necessarily in the best way, but also I think helps to understand the pressure that the media is confronted with. A pressure that is not only related with the fake news or the attempts to manipulate for personal gains or of individual A or organization B, as we have seen so many times in the past, but also the financial pressure. We live difficult.
Yes, but I think that we have to make also an analysis why we are arriving at this point. Because the great man that has created the so-called social media, they knew what they were doing. And they wanted also, I think, to kill the free thinking and the free journalism. Because, when something comes from an industry that they want only to have the profit and they don't care about the feelings or the principle, because I think that the top guy that has made billions, they didn't care. They knew that there was a big danger for the freedom in the journalism, but they went only following their interest, their money interest. So now they are billionaires. Now they are always trying to show that they are trying to take away from their social media the fake news, the situation that are against the human rights. But at the end, this is only something that they do for the surface.
Yeah.
Because the real thing is that the target is to try to stop the independence of journalism. Because, unfortunately, the company now are cutting a lot of jobs because the financial situation is quite difficult. Because first, they destroy the image of the true journalism through the social media with the fake news, because the big public, the people that has not such big open mind, immediately they think that the journalists are the problem. The problem are not some criminal that sometimes are organizing something. The problem, the criminal are the journalists that they are only giving their opinion or they are following some secret plan. That is not true at all.
Yeah.
So we have to regain the credibility. And this is what we are trying to do also as an association. For this reason, since the beginning of the pandemic, we have begun with any college to discuss with all the young reporters what are the principles, and also make them speaking with top people, because the problem that we have now, and you know exactly, because when you were also in the football, the problem is the access to the sources, to speak with the athlete. And now everybody is trying to take out us from the stadium. Why? Because so after it will be easier to manipulate everything.
Of
The
course.
problem is this is the fight.
I think those who do not understand the role of the media and do not understand how crucial it is to have independent media is a guarantee of an independent society, and it's one of the cornerstones of any democratic system. So obviously, we have to be aware of these new changes. They come in a subtle, cynical way, and they penetrate, they're widespread, but there cannot be any exception. The true price of independent society, free, democratic, this is not to be bargaining. This is non-negotiable. So, and I think this is why, Gianni, as you know, in our previous conversations over the years, I have always been willing to do the utmost, not only to engage the media in an active way, not just in informing, but to form new mentalities, new cultures, to instigate cultural change, but also to ensure that the media has a voice, not just to report, not just to inform, but to be an active agent of change. And this is not rocket science. We all know it. The media is entitled to have its opinions, is entitled to intervene. And I take my hat off to all the journalists that give their life for this cause, in sport, outside sport. And in sport, one cannot remember the role that the media played 5 years ago. 5 years ago, in a critical moment for the largest, the most predominant, most preeminent sport, which is football, our football, when the media was vocal in saying enough is enough and demanding change and demanding reform. And I want to appeal to the same free, independent spirit of the media and those who represent it to join us in this critical stage. We live a world of uncertainty. We live in a world that the lack of leadership, the lack of trust and confidence in institutions, in self-proclaimed leaders is widespread. And when we are in a situation like this, the role of the media, beacon of democracy, of enlightenment, and all the values that we hold dear, must emerge. And so I urge you to give a step forward and be active in this discussion. And that is why I take my hat off to you, to AAPS, and all the thousands of journalists that you represent, because without their active participation, without their willingness, their courage to pick sides, to make choices, and to affirm the values of integrity within the sporting industry, we will be poor, and we'll all lose. So for that, Gianni, it is very important that we continue this discussion, that you are always actively engaged. Your views are appreciated, welcome, and make the whole difference. And in a world that we live under a transition between the fourth to the fifth industrial revolution, I think this issue is right at the heart of the discussion that we need to have. So what you're doing is of the utmost relevance, and I would like to say it loud and clear.
Thank you very much, and we will be always ready to fight for the independence and for the future, especially of the young generation, because what I have learned these days, especially staying a lot with them, even on this video, I've seen that they are so eager to reach a point in which of independence and to speak freely, that I think that this is the very good thing. All the young generation are open, and we have to work with them. We have to work for them, and we have to open their mind. For this reason, we are always organizing meetings, because, for example, we have had one on women, on the problem of women, not only in sport, but also in the society. And very soon we will make another conference on racism and discrimination in sport, because there is racism that has many faces, especially in football. You know exactly what happened always in the stadium, And so I think that we will continue to enhance the possibility of the young generation to create a better culture, because without culture you cannot be a good journalist. And the problem, we have to study. The journalism is not only to go on the field and to speak with the player. The journalism is also to study all the things, to discuss with the other, with people that has more experience, because after we have to judge, and the people has to believe in what we are doing. The most important is to rebuild our credibility at every level, because when we rebuild the credibility, it will be possible also to sell better our product. Because the big problem, you know, at the beginning was said, on internet, everything is free. Yeah, but everything is free, and only some people are making money, and all the other are without any possibility to survive. What is the freedom? Only for the rich people? No, sorry. I think that we have to make a kind of cultural revolution in the mind of even of the journalists, to have a better future for everybody, even for sport, because we have to help sport to stay clean. Because with journalists that are doing very good job, the sport will follow their principle. When the journalists are outside the stadium or they cannot speak with the people, the crime is coming on. Sorry, this is the situation.
You are absolutely right, and you touch in so many important topics, so many issues that deserve a much longer and deeper conversation, but above all, they require action. And action is what motivates us. Results will also motivate us. But so this is a time where we need to question, we need to be vocal, we need to take a stance, we need to choose where we stand. And it has been absolutely remarkable seeing the buzz around the Sport Integrity Week, the first ever. You mentioned the youngsters. It has been absolutely amazing, the traction and their engagement during the week. And moving forward, I think we have planted very important seeds to continue our discussion, to continue our brainstorming, but above all, to steer, to spur, to instigate what you mentioned, the much needed cultural change, putting sport at the podium. Thank you, Gianni. Grazie mille.
Grazie anche a voi.
Verte, and keep fighting.
Thank you very much. We will continue. No problem.
Thank you. We will. Thank you. Thanks for everything.